Hello, welcome to the Critical Obsession podcast. My name is Mirella,
And I'm Zoe.
and today we're going to talk about episode 12 of Cooking Crush.
Yes, yes, we are.
The end is here.
I know, right? I don't know. It's really weird because it doesn't seem like it's been like 12 weeks, but also it kind of does. It's like one of those weird things about time. Like I can't believe it's been 12 weeks though.
Yeah,
Actually,
no,
it's
I
been
cannot
longer.
believe
It's been longer because we skipped a week over Christmas, I think. So it's actually I think been 13 weeks technically.
it feels like the time passed by so fast.
It
I
did.
cannot
Yeah.
believe it's already over. It's so weird.
I know, right? I'm just like, And there were a couple of quick observations before we like deep dive or whatever. We didn't get our bridge scene that we prophesized early on that we were hoping we might get, where they meet in the middle. But we did get them
I,
kissing
I,
under a bridge, which I thought
I
was
gave up.
perfectly fine.
I gave up on the symbolism in this show. I feel like they were not going for it. It's just we were looking for it. We were like suspecting because we used to looking for stuff like this, and
Yeah,
because they were quite prevalent in the other series that we talked about, but they did not do this here, which
yeah,
is completely fine.
yeah. It is. It's interesting too, actually, because it usually is a thing in off-gun shows. Like usually there are things that are really important. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
throughout the shows. Um, obviously like with Theory and Love and that Theory of Love, it was the movies and like other stuff like
Hmm.
that. And it's probably one of the first ones where there isn't a huge part of that to it. But I think you said yesterday after the episode, you said something like they're telling us, not showing us the message.
Yeah, no, it's kind of it has this way of storytelling, which is not
Yeah.
necessarily a good thing usually.
I mean, I think it works. I mean, like it's one for this in this instance. I think it more or less it works. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, were there things that I wish they had shown us? Of course, there's a
Hmm.
bunch of them. I could have written a huge list. I didn't, but like maybe we do. Let's talk last Twilight. If we do let's talk Cooking Crush, I'll make a list for that.
Hmm.
But the it's like there were definite lines and things that they wanted to say that I feel
Hmm.
like whenever they did it, like whenever they took these moments to say these like important things or
Hmm.
whatever, they did resonate. Like
Hmm.
there were definitely some in this episode, for example, there were definitely some really good lines that kind of, you know, I went, wow, that was good writing, or,
Hmm.
um and once again, it's like I'm basing it off the English subtitles, so how accurate they are and all the rest of it. I have to assume, GMM's a professional
Hmm.
company, that it'd be pretty close. But yeah, so based on what the translation is, I'm like, oh yes, I like this. This means something to
Hmm.
me, or
Yeah.
whatever. Mm.
What I'm trying to say is that they did show also through actions, through characters going through stuff, but sometimes what they were showing us and what they were saying did not quite align. If you really looked into it, if you
Yeah,
went in and analyzed what was happening, your conclusion to the actions that were happening on screen would be a bit different from what they were trying to tell, you know? Like, for example, with the dad, violence is bad, but if you go and analyze what happened and what his history and their interactions and Tan's character and that whole circumstance, it doesn't necessarily read like it's an honest, um
yeah. The message is lost a bit because they haven't
yeah. Or
addressed
for
his
example,
violence.
yeah, or for example, like learned when that no is a no, right, with Shangma, but in the end he Tan has to apologize to him and Shangma looks like the hero. What they're showing us doesn't quite align with what they're telling us.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I feel like a little bit with this show, they tried to keep it sweet and cute and funny, but then obviously they wanted to have a bit of drama, and
Hmm.
they tried to walk a fine line between introducing too many big dramatic moments, like tried to keep it simple, but like they stumbled into a few areas like with the violence, and stuff like that, where
Yeah.
they
Another thing,
got there and then they went, oh, oops, hang on, we need to go back a bit because we don't want to, like, we don't actually
get
want to
too
get that deep
serious.
into it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Or for example, with the bullies or the characters or the other team that are the bullies, they were very cartoonish, and it was a bit weird when they're like, oh, this is life, it's realistic. But at the same time, these guys, like this team that won, they are not realistic. They do not really fit this moment because they are cartoonish.
Mm.
And we consider the idea that they might win, like the bullies might win at the end of the last podcast. And I know I laughed saying that, oh, what if like they try to redeem them as well, and then one of them says something like, okay, you're not that bad, for example, right?
Mm.
But it would have been actually good, because then this would be the way for them to show us that their behavior was caused by insecurity, or that because they were threatened by the three must eaters. But it never happened. So they just feel like these characters that are not realistic in in a story that is trying to be realistic.
Yeah. I think with them especially, like, one of the big problems with them is we see the finished product of their, like, when they're delivering the food to the judges, for example, we see the finished product. Their
Mhm.
food looks clever and pretty and like whatever. Like, yeah, they can cook, they can whatever, plate up, but we don't actually see any of their hard work or effort. All we see from them, as you said, like, these like caricatures of these like bullies who to spend most of their time seemingly following Tan and Pram around, or following like the boys around, and like trying to what, see them do something stupid or whatever, something that they can like get over. Like, it's just
Yeah,
we
like it
never
was
saw
their
any.
sole purpose.
Yeah, we never
Like
saw
there's
any
no
of their
justification,
efforts. We never
no
saw any of their
depth.
efforts.
Depth. Yeah, there was no depth to their
Mm-mm.
characters.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so their win was definitely hollow. But I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like, while I didn't like that they won, like, I almost wish they had been kicked out. Like, I kind of wish like there had been maybe 5 teams or something, and they'd gotten rid of one team, and then there was the 4, and then they'd gotten rid of the other like a 4th team, and then it was like a showdown between 3 instead of just 2, because I kind of
Hmm.
wish that they like just lost and that another team won, because I
Hmm.
don't know that I would have liked it if Prem, like, if the 3 must eaters had won. I feel like, to me, that would have been too, like, especially because of like the kind of dishes they were using. Like, I get why they cooked the, like, but in comparison to what everyone else was doing, like, everyone else was doing like fine cuisine, and
Hmm.
and it's hard to win in a competition of that caliber with making more simple dishes. Not that I'm not saying those dishes aren't complicated and layered and have great like flavor, whatever, and are difficult or any of those things, but like, in a competition like that, you tend to do something really like impressive, or
Hmm.
whatever, to be able to win. And they were sticking more to, like, the idea was to showcase these simpler dishes for what they were. And I get that, and that makes complete sense. And from a perspective of someone, if you're a foodie and you're watching this, you probably would have really liked that. But like, I feel like to have them win would have made it just a little bit too perfect and too, and there's a line, I think, that Prem says, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about like how is something like just because you uh put the effort in doesn't mean, it's not always going to guarantee success, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a horrible thing to think about, that you can like kill yourself for something. Like, you can actually
Hmm.
put everything you have into it in that
Yeah.
moment in time and still not succeed. Like, you still fail. I mean, if you're, and that cripples some people, because they feel like they have given everything that they have, and they can't go any
Hmm.
further because they just cannot get over the fact that this did not turn out the way they wanted to. Whereas
Hmm.
they took this opportunity to go, well, we didn't win, but we didn't
Mm-hmm.
lose either. Like, this is just a step in us now. Now we have this fire in our belly. Now we know we can do this. What can we do next? Like, this maybe wasn't the forum for us. Like, this maybe isn't something that we, like, is really going to be something that made us really happy anyway. Like, we're going to go on and we're going to do this, or we're going to do that, and that those are going to be our triumphs. I kind of really liked that aspect of it. As I said, if they had won it, it would have taken away from that, and it would have made that a little bit not cartoonish, but a little bit too like happily ever after for me. Which, okay, like, there's a place for that, but at the same time, I wouldn't have found it that realistic. But I didn't like the bullies one, so I wish that someone else had. Like, I wish they had gotten knocked out, because I feel like that's what they deserved. And I would have been quite happy if some random team that we had no real connection to or whatever had actually won, because to me that probably would have been the more realistic solution to the story.
Actually, this idea of you might lose, but you still have to go on. It's not the end. It's basically the same as the one that Tan had to learn when he said that woman, like, you just continue, you do your best. Sometimes you lose a patient, but you have to just go on.
Yeah, you just
Right?
do your best. Your best
Yeah.
might be just enough for that person for that day. Yeah, actually, I like
And
that.
after
I
that,
like that their stories are parallel that way. Like, it makes them more fitting as a couple, because even though they're coming from really different, like, socioeconomical backgrounds, they've got really different careers. They can have the same value. They can have the same understanding about what it's going to take to put in, and also like the fact that it's not always going to be the best outcome. You just dust yourself off and you try again. And I just realized I just quoted a lyric. But sorry. But yeah, you just do that, and then bonus points for anyone who picks up what that is and knows the song. Put it in the comments on one of the posts, because I will laugh for hours. Anyway.
Yeah, but also it's funny how the bullies do not fit the story, because they seem to be aware of the fact that they're villains, of the fact that they're doing evil for evil's sake. But what is realistic is the fact that sometimes, people who aren't good will succeed instead of you. Like,
Yeah.
bad things will happen, or someone who does not deserve something will get ahead instead of you, or something like this. I mean, I'm not saying that they did not deserve winning, but it did not feel good, and it is realistic, but in a depressing way.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is like, they did it. Yeah, okay, maybe they're really good cooks or good chefs. I don't know what's the correct terminology there, but their morals and the way they played the game made them bad winners. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It would have made them poor losers as well, but it definitely made them bad winners, because they
Yeah.
tried to sabotage the other team. And when they weren't sure if that had worked, they then went on and tried to make it worse by, like, telling lies, and like, so it was just one, fuckery after another, basically. But
But overall, I want to just say before we start at the beginning of the episode that this episode left me with a good feeling.
except for a couple of things where we, as you said earlier on, when we thought that this show was going to be slightly different, and we were like having, we were trying to theorize, and this show was actually really good at, like, completely destroying any theories that we made,
Yeah,
which was
yeah.
kind of fun in a way.
It's very
And
unpredictable.
unpredictable.
It was very unpredictable. Yes.
Yeah. And that was kind of fun in a way, because I was starting to get a
Yeah.
little bit scared, because with Dangerous Romance we were pretty close, and then with the majority of Last Twilight, until they went, like, crazy
Cookie
on us,
Crush.
we were pretty right as well. And Last Twilight, we were
Yeah.
just like, we've got no idea what's going on. Like, we
Yeah,
got to
with
know the
Cookie
characters
Crush,
really
we
well.
were like a new podcast starting with, oh, we were wrong again.
like we understood the characters really, really well, but we had no idea, like, what they were doing with the storyline.
Yeah.
And it was just a really interesting, and it was kind of like there was
Fun.
a little bit of a relief in that, because I was starting to get a little bit weird at how good we were at predicting things with the other two. And then, of course, the end of Last Twilight just made me go, well, yeah, I know nothing. And then, and then Cooking Crush was just like, so it was a little bit fun of not knowing, you know, where that was going to go. But I mean, I did, as I said, this idea that you just had about these lessons that they were learning, like kind of mimicking each other, even though like totally different circumstances, but mimicking each other. I really liked that. And I also really liked that at the bottom line of all of that as well is having somebody who you trust, who loves and supports you and will back you up on those days where things don't go the way you need them to, or when your best is not enough. You have someone who can help pick you up and help you sort of get right back on the track again. And they were that for each other. So I really that was like, I guess, the like an underlying part of their storyline, which I really, really, really did enjoy.
So let's start at the beginning.
Yes. Going to tell Ten's dad. And I mean, we made some jokes at the end of the last one about the angry sauce.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I was just like, seriously, if he gets up and goes to get sauce or something, I am just gonna die. I will not be. I will be laughing from when the episode, you know, from that when that happens until like, you know, when we record. But thankfully, he did not go and fetch some sauce, and you know, although I kind of wish he did.
Thankfully.
I kind of wish he did because
Thankfully.
like,
That's unfortunately, huh? Thankfully.
it's like, it's really funny because it would have been like, oh, we got nothing else wrong, but he went and fetched sauce because he was angry because it was not enough sauce. But yeah, no. So we had
So
that
they walk
scene.
in hand, of course.
Yes, holding
And
hands.
the situation is so tense. They're like, the girlfriend, Charlotte, welcomes them though and is trying to light up the
It's super
situation.
awkward. A super awkward moment.
Yes, she's being nice, and Ten presents Prem officially to the dad. But the dad holds
Yes.
on to.
Are you calling this scammer your boyfriend? Ooh, I was like, oh, damn, dad. That's a bit
I wonder
harsh.
how much time has he carried that sticker in his pocket,
Well,
holding
like he,
grudges close to his heart, huh?
well, at least one day, because I think it was like meant to be the next day. So he had it in his pocket. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just, uh, I mean, look, I kind of get it. This conversation that they had here with him, where he was like questioning Tan, not Tan, where he was questioning Prem, and I feel like Prem sort of got it. Like Tan, you could see was just getting mad, but that's like his default reaction to his father. Like their relationship was very similar to Kang and his father from Dangerous Romance. Like just put them in the same room together, and if someone struck a match, they would just explode.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see he was getting like angry, I guess, on Tan's behalf. But I kind of, sorry, not Tan, on Prem's behalf. Sorry, oh my god, me with my names and my brain is just blah. Anyway, I feel like Tan's dad doesn't know Prem, like he doesn't, and it's interesting because we get a line later on where he says to Prem, I know, I now know like why he likes you, like what he sees, like what makes him like you so much. But because in the beginning he doesn't know him, all he's seen are these like negative things. Like we already don't like the father. Like we're predisposed not to like him because Ten doesn't like
Mm-hmm.
him, and we only know Ten's side of the story. And then he does things like hitting Ten and, you know, being mean to Prem, and so we don't like him because he's not shown us one redeeming quality. Like there's no reason for us to like him. But in this scene, I was thinking about it from his perspective, trying to forget all of the things like the hitting and the whatever else, and going from his perspective, what he knows about Prem is that he distracted his son. He like got him to pay this money. Um, he's now somehow convinced his son to date him. Um, you know, all these things. Like there's this poster note that like almost seems to be like a mocking joke about like being that. And we talked about whether or not the father really thought he had done this thing or whether he was just using it as an excuse to keep them apart. And like he
Mm-hmm.
may have at the time maybe not taken it all that seriously, but like seeing something like that would make you go, well, hang on, like what is this about then? You know, if it wasn't really a
Mm-hmm.
thing, why does this poster note exist? You know what I mean? So from his perspective, I kind of get him questioning Prem the way he did, the way he was sort of saying like, oh, is this one of those things that you're actually going to do, or are you just not going to take it that seriously, or you know, whatever? Because he doesn't know Prem the way Ten does. He doesn't know his true character. He knows nothing about him of merit, really. Um, the only things that he
What I,
knows, the only things that he knows that are, I guess, positive or good about Prem is that he is related to the old lady from the restaurant that him and his wife and that used to like to go to. Like that is a positive thing, which is why I think he went and spoke to her the way he did. He may not have respected Prem, but I think he did respect the grandmother,
mm-hmm.
for all of his faults and everything. But so I kind of couldn't get too angry at him in this scene because
Mm-hmm.
I understood where he was coming from, and which is why I think Prem sort of had the same reaction. Like he wasn't angry or anything. He was just determined to prove him, you know, self worthy or whatever.
I
Um,
had this thought
yeah.
when Charlotte, which was provoked by Charlotte saying the rich have a peculiar way of thinking, unlike us.
Mm,
So, like, she puts herself in the same boat with Bram by saying this line.
mm,
And I thought, what an interesting thing is happening here. Like, Tan is being cruel to Charlotte,
yeah.
his dad is being cruel to Bram. It's kind of like they're like mirroring situations, and Charlotte did something morally questionable, and maybe Bram did something morally questionable, and you can see that Tan and his dad are very similar actually. We
Mm-mm-mm.
already knew this, but they are really similar.
Yeah. Yeah, they're showing us and this is the thing. As you said, it's interesting because a lot of the stuff they tell us, but then they do something like this where they actually are showing it to us as well. I mean, they are telling it to us because obviously she explains like how it was her who found the poster and all the rest of it. Like she's kind of hopeless, really. Where she's very honest though. I'll give her that, but like
Mm.
she is not like maybe the brightest light in the street. I the way she just kept talking, I feel like someone should have told her to be quiet about halfway through her explanation. And I get why Ten's angry because you know you went in there to find a charger and like why did you take this out? And even if you found it, why would you take it out? But the thing is, I feel like from her perspective, she seems quite simple a character in that
Yeah.
she, even though Ten doesn't think so, she does actually care about him.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would have taken that note to the father out of concern, not because she was trying to cause problems or anything like that. She really does not come across as the character who has a like mean bone inside her. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even when there was like suspicious behavior from Prem, she was still going, but I don't really think he's like that because she'd met him
Yeah.
and she'd spent some time with him and she couldn't like align those two versions with one person. And
Mm-hmm.
so she's very like simple and innocent in that way. But because as you said, because Tan already has this idea about her and he already dislikes her, then he's going to react to her in a certain way. And yeah, his father
Which
is
is
very much
exactly
the
what the
same.
dad.
Yeah, it's very much
Yeah.
the same situation. I mean,
And there's another thing in this scene that I noticed on my second rewatch. Actually, I did not notice it the first time, which is very weird because it's a triggering thing for me.
mm,
I think I think the fact that Tan brought Pram home is kind of cruel because he, he there was a tense situation happening between him and his dad. They've never managed to talk like heart to heart and understand each other and come to like some sort of agreement. So what he basically did is brought Prem into this
Hostile situation.
house, exactly, hostile situation. And I was just thinking, like, if I were 10, I, I first talk to the dad alone, like by myself, and make sure that he'd behave before before I brought the person that I loved home. Like, I wouldn't want them to step into this like minefield. I just think it's your responsibility to make sure that your family treats the person that you love well. It's not their duty to earn your family's approval. And this is a thought that is based on my personal experience and worldview, and I understand that it's very subjective. But then when I rewatched this scene, it made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cruel. It was a cruel thing to do to Pram, and yeah,
I think
I
look, I get what you're saying and I completely agree with you. But I feel like there's two caveats to this situation that unfolded. The first one is I'm pretty sure at some point, sometime they said that they would talk to the father together. Not in this episode, but like a couple of episodes back, or I don't know. I feel like there was a conversation like that, and I may be wrong. I
mhm.
feel free to rewatch the whole thing sometime and tell me I'm wrong. I probably will rewatch it, and if I do, if I was wrong, I'll let you know. But I feel like there was some sort of conversation between Ten and Prem where they talked about going to talk to the father together or something. Whether or not I feel like they had that conversation, and I feel like Ten tried to shut that idea down initially. Like I think it was Prem who suggested it, but I'm not really sure. And so if that's the case, then I get the united front sort of thing from it. The other thing, in Ten's defense, although there is this hostile thing between him and his dad, he did not know that he was walking into the whole scammer thing. Like he did not know that that was going to happen. The last conversation he had about his to his dad about Prem specifically, his father said the person that you care about, you've just hurt or you've just caused trouble for. So
Yeah, but the
it
last
wasn't.
conversation that he had with his dad was a fight. I don't know.
Yeah, but like
It doesn't look good for me at all.
it wasn't specifically about him being with Prem though.
It doesn't matter. Like you have to make sure that you
Yeah, but he
have to
made
make
what
sure that that person
I
is
get what you're
going to be
saying, but what
ready.
I'm saying is he had no I don't think it's fair to say that he knew that his father would start like attacking Prem. Like he may
I'm
have
not
thought his
saying he
father might
knew.
start
I'm
attacking
not
him.
I'm not saying he knew, but he knows his father, and he knows that they have a tense relationship, and he knows that his father is prone to judging Bram and judging him, and just not having a conversation where you're finally able to talk like people who can understand each other and not scream at each other, not judge each other. Like have a conversation when you find that like peace is finally settled between you. Settled, is this a correct way to say this?
It is, but I
And
don't think they would have ever got there. And I feel like Prem is
listen,
the
it just I'm telling you this because it's a personal trigger, and
yeah.
I saw this and I was like, oh no.
Yeah. No, and
No,
I
no, no,
get
no.
it, but I just from the story's perspective, I feel like I don't necessarily think that that was intentional. And also
Yeah, I
I
know. I'm
don't
I'm pretty
know.
sure this was not, they didn't want to make 10 like look cruel in my eyes, It was obviously not intentional.
No, but I mean, like as well, like I don't know. I can't because they can't because until it was like until his father was kind to the person that he loved, which may have been his hope. I don't know. It was like they couldn't function in a space together, like one on one. Because
Hmm.
one on one, they just it didn't matter what happened. One of them said something, and the other one was reactive to it straight away. Whereas
Hmm.
when like this happened, and then Prem did his thing where he basically was like, this is everything I set out to do. Yes, okay, I didn't win the competition, but I'm even more determined now to prove to you that, you know, like, I am a person who can be by his side, and, you know, gave him the money back, did everything he said, kept his word, you know, and then the father, you know, obviously thought about it, whatever, came to the conclusion that this is probably the caliber of person that maybe he thought the grandmother may have raised, you know.
No, but look, I like the fact that Prem went by himself to bring the money back. It would have been so bad if Ten was with him in that moment as well, because
it
like
had
it
to be
was
Prem.
yes, it was Prem's decision to try to do this, but I think from like Tan, as like his duty is to defend his partner from this kinds of situations where, oh, come earn my approval, or you're not too good, or well, you're not good enough, or something like this. It's
Well, I
just
mean, he does sort of say to him, like, don't worry about that. That's not something you need to do. Like, he basically says that to him later on.
he
And
does
says,
say it, but
I'll take
still, like
care of it. This is not something, yeah. And but
the
Prem
scene
is,
at the beginning did like the first time when I was watching it, I had no issues with it because I was focused on what was happening, on, you know, learning who knows what, who says what, you know. But the second time, I just focused on the vibe and like watching the whole situation unravel, already knowing where things were going. And I was just like, it did not feel good.
no, I mean, look, when I was watching it yesterday, it felt uncomfortable to me. I mean, the scene was meant to, but like, yeah, obviously, if it's something that, as you said, from you have a personal thing that you can do to it, I understand. Um, I don't know that I had an issue, not the same issue with it, because, as I said, I struggle to see how, without him having a relationship with Prem, that like his coming to have a relationship with Prem is what bridged the gap between him and Ten. And I don't see how they could have got to that place. Like, and Prem would not have continued to date him until the father was, at least until he had some conversation with the father, because that was his whole thing. His thing was like, you know, if we keep doing this and then he doesn't like approve, or he won't agree, or whatever, like, what does that mean for us? Like, so he couldn't go all the way. Like, it was like he was holding himself back a little bit from going all the way in, even though like he was already in, he just still had these apprehensions about it. So like, from a personal perspective, I feel sorry that it made you feel like a certain way, but I also struggle to find out how. I just can't see them in a room by themselves having a conversation. Like, and the only way for me, I feel like, for him to protect Prem was for them not to go there at all. You know what I mean? Because if he had tried to do anything else in that situation, like, it would have just escalated things, because that's how volatile their relationship was. You know what I
I
mean?
agree that he shouldn't have brought the dad. Like he should have said, obviously the story wouldn't have moved. Like,
Mm-mm.
you know, things had to happen. He had to see. They had to learn about the fact that the dad had this piece of paper, and they had to, like, Prem had to understand that there's an issue. He has to resolve the issue, and blah blah blah. And so this had to happen, but it looked like a cruel thing that you do to your partner, not thinking through bringing them into a tense situation.
It's interesting then to see
But
what your.
I like the fact that in the later scenes it was settled between the two of them, and Ten was not involved. It was Prem who went to the dad, and then it was the dad who went to Prem.
Yeah. I'm interested to know then, because one of the aspects of this scene I really, really liked was when the father basically got angry and then left.
Mm-hmm.
When and Prem put his hand on, sorry, Ten put his hand on Prem's, and they just looked at each other. I'm curious to
Mm-hmm.
know what your reaction to that was then, after your feelings about it being cruel, because for me, I really liked that scene, that part of the scene, because they were having such like an intense conversation of understanding between the two of them without actually even saying anything.
No, that's cute. I know that it's like it's a cultural thing. Like in some cultures, the parents are always right, and
Yeah.
like you have to earn the approval of your partner's parents. But this thing can lead to situations that are so toxic
Yeah.
and like harmful, so like they're so horrible. But I just don't like it at all.
Yeah.
So I
No,
know
that's
it
okay.
happened. I'm like, yeah, it happened, you
Yeah.
know.
I think for me, I think the problem with is academically, I know what you're saying, but yeah, as you said, I come from a cult. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a culture, if it's just my family in particular, where I have never had that situation. You know, I mean, my dad, like, if someone wanted to date me, if they bought him a bottle of scotch, he'd be like, sure, take it. That would be about as like you could be a serial killer if you bought my dad a good scotch, he'd let you take me. No, that's not true, but like it's a foreign concept for me in regards to like personally. So while I can, you know, I see it in media and I've read it and things like that, it's you know, I think that's one of those things that you have to live to really truly understand. So I can't really, as I said, speak to it. I can only talk in regards to like in line with the story. But yeah, but I am sorry that it made you feel away.
You shouldn't be sorry because you know it's a scene. I just wanted to discuss this aspect and mention that I don't think this is something that you should put your partner through.
No. If it's
And
funny
it's a
actually, I
part
feel
of the
like we
story.
have had a conversation about this in some
Yeah,
other like
I told you this is a trigger for me. Like I
yeah,
was
I feel like we've
surprised. I
actually,
only
yeah, you may have told me about something, and I because I feel like I'm having, as we're talking about this, I'm having deja vu. But I'm like, and
yeah,
you know what? You're probably not the only person who would have been triggered by that because, as you said, it's not like it's an uncommon thing.
it is what it is.
Mm.
So then let's move on. Let's move on.
But yeah, so we the bit in front of the restaurant after that, where, as I said, we see. I feel it's interesting because Tanya, I think, is concerned that Prem is hurt. As you were triggered, I feel like Prem was concerned that sorry, Prem Tan was concerned that Prem felt the same way, that this would shake his confidence, this would, you know, hurt him in a certain way, where in actual fact it triggered him in a different way. It made him determined. Um,
Mhm.
and then we had Ten trying to I guess offer support and being like, you know, you don't have to da 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 da, and him and Prem being, you know, like, no, this is what's gonna happen, you know. So I liked it. They had this kind of quite a serious conversation, and it ended in like, you know, cute little cuddles and stuff. One of the things I noticed, I sent you, I think I sent you a thing on like an edit that someone had done on Twitter. And holy bajoli, they kissed Offgun kissed a lot in this drama. Like
They did.
a lot, like a lot. Like they are the only people who kissed in this drama.
Yep.
Considering we ended the show with 3 couples, they are like the only
They,
ones that kissed.
they had to kiss for everyone.
Yeah,
They
they
had
did.
to
They
fill the gap
literally
for
kissed for
everyone.
everybody in the show. Multiple times. It was so funny. I was like, I'm watching this edit and I'm going, wow, they really kissed. Like I, was watching the kisses and I was like, oh yeah, oh, that's so cute, or like whatever. But like looking at them all like in this one edit, I was just like, wow, did anything else happen in this? This is just like 12 episodes of off-gun kissing.
Oh, and I think during this conversation, they were trying to teach another lesson, the lesson of holding your word, true to your words.
Yes. This was an interesting little story arc as well for Prem, because Prem had this whole thing from the very beginning where he was very concerned about what other people thought about him. We talked about this a few times. And the fact that he really loves Ten, and, you know, already they saw a future together, even after only being together for, you know, not a very long time. They could see, you know, a long-term future. And when, you know, ultimately when you care about someone, and if you're someone like, I feel like if you're someone like Prem, where you don't have a lot of family, maybe you are simply like his parents. Obviously, we don't know what the story is with his parents. I don't know if we were told that. I can't remember. But like, he doesn't have any parents. He's sympathetic to the fact that Ten's mother is no longer there, and that all he has is his father. So even though it's very obvious, even to Prem, how like I guess kind of hostile their relationship is, he still wants to be a part of it and wants it to be a positive thing and not a negative thing. So the fact that he gets that approval from the father and everything, and he does it, like, his determination gets him there, and he like changes the perspective that this person has of him, is like a huge like, I guess, like, win for his character in regards to his self-esteem issues that he had like earlier on. And that he just didn't give up. He didn't give up about like what like, he didn't lose faith in himself. Like, he knew in this that he could do this. This was something he could definitely do, and he just needed to work out how. And that brought us to the scene where he was like trying to work out how to get the money to pay back Ten's dad and the grandma.
The
I
scene
love
with
the
the
grandma.
grandma.
The grandma.
I
I
think
love
that
when she
scene.
says to him, "Why are you making a butt face?"
I think that
And
scene
then
is so pretty. The backgrounds, the colors, it looks gorgeous. Did you
I just,
notice how
I
beautiful
did,
it
but
was?
no, I did notice, but I was also just so distracted by grandma. Like, I love grandma. I have to say,
Deja
GMM,
vu.
I have to say, GMM does some really like fucked up stuff sometimes, but GMM gives good grandma. They give good grandma. Like, oh my god. This is what, the second grandma we've had now who was amazing.
hmm
And I'm just like, I love her so much. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. They need to.
I wish
I
we
feel
saw
like
she.
I feel like all future GMM shows should have a grandma in them, and they should all be as
She.
lovely as this one and grandma from
The
the
Determinants.
Determinants. Yeah,
Yeah, she's a very interesting character. Actually, I wish we saw more of her because she was cool.
yeah. I love how she punished.
It
Like,
was
I
very
love.
funny.
Yeah, I love how Prem finally came clean about everything and told her, and how she punished him. And I love how
Do
she was
you
like on.
remember?
I love how she was like on a roll, and she's like, "This is for that, and this is for that," and then she went to like hit him again for something that Pang had done, and then she's just like, "Oh, hang on, no, wrong person. I'll punish that one later."
Do you remember the moment when she was flirting with a picture of her dead husband? Like,
Yeah, when she was having dinner and stuff. Yeah, or even the end bit where like Metha is trying to flirt with her and that. I just thought that
yeah,
was really
yeah,
funny.
yeah. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah, but they were just they were really really. It was just a really sweet scene. It was funny, but it was sweet, and it was kind of, I don't know. I was really funny. Like, when I was watching it.
So funny. She's like, she's the good cop, and she's also the bad cop. Punish and
Yeah,
then console.
yeah. She's all the cops. Yeah. But it was really funny because when I was watching it, I had this weird sensation, and it took me a while to work out what it was. But I felt bad, I think, about the fact, or not that I felt bad, but it felt wrong to me, I guess, that he hadn't told the grandmother everything, because when he did tell her everything, this feeling, this like weird sensation that I had felt while I was watching it, was relief. Like I was
Uh-huh.
relieved that he had told her everything, and that this wasn't a secret anymore between her and him,
Mhm.
which was such a weird reaction to have. But
Mhm.
I wonder if anyone else felt that way, because yeah, I just was like, oh, like it took me probably about 10 or 15 minutes before I went, oh, I'm just really relieved that he told her the truth and now
It's
she
just
knows.
it's just that they had such a sweet relationship,
They
and of
did.
course you want, like, and she was his person. She
Yeah.
was always there
She was
for him.
always in his corner.
Always,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, and he needed someone on his team. Tan is Tan. Like, Tan is a part of that family. He needed someone of his own
Yeah.
to support him, to be there for him.
Yeah.
And like, he
I feel
also
like,
has someone who loves them unconditionally and who would defend him and, do anything for him, and like, who maybe Tan would have to earn the trust of or whatever.
yeah. The other thing I think as well, like, because when we think back to like what he lied to her about, essentially, was it was very
Mhm.
prem of him. You know, he didn't tell her because he didn't want to get his little sister into trouble. So there was that side
Mhm.
of it. And then he also didn't tell her because she would have then had to try and find the money. She would have worked hard, would have done all these things that he didn't want her to have to do, because she already had done so much for them already. So like the two reasons he didn't tell are like so prem. Like they're just such his character, that he's trying to fix the situation in the best way possible, where, you know, no one gets hurt, but maybe it'll burden him in some way. Like it was very, as I said, very prem of him to do it
Mhm.
that way. So, and then we had the scene where they're at the cooking show.
We have this scene with Tan and Pram being cute and supportive, right?
Yes.
With the cute animation and listening to Pram's heart and everything.
Mm-mm.
They're so cute.
It was so funny because this scene reminded me, and I think I sent you this as well too, on Twitter earlier today. Someone else noticed it and did like a kind of like a side by side comparison. Um,
Mhm.
but this scene so reminded me of the scene between Sean and White in Not Me, where
Oh, oh.
where they've been followed, and like Sean is so stressed, and White is like giving him cute little pet kisses and being like, do you feel better now? No. Do you feel better now? No. And just keeps kissing him. And the same thing was happening here when like with Pram and Tan, and Pram is stressed and Tan's like, do you feel
I
better?
thought
No.
I thought you'd say that about the scene from the tent, also with the listening to one's heart and tuk 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 and whatever, and like.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, yeah. But
Wait, wait.
but that bit in particular, the whole like, because it was lots of little pet kisses, and they're like, do you feel better now? Yeah, the whole time that scene was unraveling, all I could think about was Not Me, which is not a bad thing,
Yeah.
you know. Like
Oh, oh,
it's
it's never
always
a bad
good.
thing being reminded
Yeah,
by
look,
Not Me.
I'm happy to be reminded
It's,
about Not Me at
it's
least
a
once a
sign
day.
of quality. It's a
That's
sign of quality.
right. But yeah,
You know,
and
I
then
was surprised when the team was together and screaming and everything, and they were trying to uplift each other, even though they could hear the screams of support for the other team.
yeah.
I was surprised that the bullies did not appear to harass them one more time before the competition starts.
Well, I'm glad they
I was
didn't, because
kind of
I would
waiting
have
for
been
it.
like, ugh. I would have been like, not
Yeah,
another. Yeah.
I
And
feel like if they did it, like, we would be even angrier to see them win. It's good.
yeah,
It's good. It's a good thing that they did not remind us of them.
yeah, I feel that was a safe choice. Um,
Yeah.
I'm I feel like I need to, in this instance, just bring up the meta of it all. um, and because if you've been listening to us, you know I was Meta Samsey all the way, baby. And I'm so
We both
devastated.
were.
If I had to, like, there's a couple of things in this episode that I wasn't really happy about. One was that we didn't get the father apologizing for hitting his son. I realized that was like a total, like, hope you know, hopeful wish list kind of situation. But you know, to me, that would have made me really happy with the relationship and everything, how that went, and all the rest of it. I know a lot of people from what I saw online weren't really happy. Like, they were like, oh, they didn't redeem him for me. And like, I get that. I really do, because there were definitely, for me, that needed to be addressed, really, for him to be 100% redeemed. But I actually was quite happy with the way they kind of did his storyline. But we can
I
talk
was
about that
okay.
later.
I was okay.
Yeah.
I felt much weirder about Changma. He did not
Yeah.
feel good to me. Like,
Yeah. I had more of a
just did
problem with
not
him as
accept
well.
his
Yeah.
character arc, and the way they redeemed him. They did not redeem him for me.
No, same.
Oh, I liked the moment where Samsi's parents arrived and like the families meet. It was very, very cute and heartwarming.
It was very cute. And they did this thing, because of course in last week's episode they introduced this idea of Pim's character Pang having a crush on someone. Like, that was what sort of was indicated. That's what people were guessing was going on. And I was
Mhm.
horrified that it might be Samsi, because of the age difference. And you and I
Oh
did
my
talk
God,
about
you're
this.
saying she is in school. I'm like, oh my God, at least she's not in school, she's in college.
Yeah, but
It's okay.
she wasn't like at this point, like when this is all happening, she was still in high school. So
Was she? Was she?
yeah, yes, she was in high school.
Was she?
Yes,
Was
yes, yes, she wore high school uniform.
she? What if
That's
it's
why.
like a college uniform? It's a
Sorry,
college uniform. It's a
no,
college uniform.
no, because she had the colored print writing on her chest, which means it's high school. The red writing.
Mm.
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I'm like 99.9% sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, it did not make me feel that uncomfortable. I was like, whatever.
No,
Um,
the way they did a very good job of the fact that he was
yeah.
older than her, and this whole idea of wait till she finishes college and all the rest of it. And they made it very
Actually, what
cute, and showing her like
oh,
crush on him. They did a very good job. Don't get me wrong. I was
the
just
way
amazed.
it was decided for me, the way they did the reveal with Bram's voice over, it was just very funny and not like they did not take this thing seriously. It was done for comedy, and but in a cute way. Like,
Yeah.
it's in a very cute way that reminded me of Strong Woman Bong Soon, and it's like, it was okay. It was nice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
at the end of it, I didn't have an issue with it. When they were
mhm,
hinting at it last week, I was like, oh god, no. But the way they actually did it, I was fine with it. I was just upset
mhm.
because I wanted Metha and Samsi to get together,
Yeah, I
and
don't understand why they had to dangle this thing in front of our noses
it's so
and then just not
funny
do it
too.
because
It is so
it
funny
was
too
so
because
good.
the reason why I'm mentioning, well, I decided to bring it up now before like we even got to the scene where all that is revealed, is because
Uh-huh,
I saw a post today that
uh-huh.
someone pointed out, and I'm gonna have to go and rewatch that part to like really experience it myself. But someone pointed out that in the scene where they're all gathering and like getting ready to go and cheer for our boys, um just before Samsi's parents, sorry, turn up. Um, it's basically Fire and the grandma and
It's the families.
yeah, and Ten and Pang, right? And she's got all of
Mhm,
the colorful light up name boards, you know, like Dynamite
mhm.
for Fire and Prem for Tan, and she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
who will hold Samsi?" And she's just like clutching her in a little hand. And when when Samsi's parents are like introducing themselves, like you can see Meth off to the side making grabby hands for the sign.
Oh.
Yeah, he
I'm
wanted
like,
Meth's
does he have
sign.
a secret crush? He has a secret crush on some C. It's
Like
actually a tragic
seriously,
story.
like
Meta, meta.
they like laid it out there. The groundwork was there. I'm so devastated that they didn't go there
You
because
know
it would
what?
have been
Actually,
still
there's no.
hilariously funny and really cute.
You know what I'm reading into this? There is no
What?
Metha Samsi, but Metha is obviously in love with Samsi.
I think so. Yeah, Method majorly had a crush on Samsi. So,
And I'm very
but
sad because I love Metha. I starting off not liking him because he was like being a douche with the meatballs.
yeah,
But now he's
I'm sorry.
probably my favorite character.
They were pigtail meatballs. Yeah, if I had to pick for a while there, it was definitely Dynamite, like because I just loved the maturity and the intricacies in the character that they had
Uh-huh,
given him. And I do
uh-huh.
still love his character, but like outside of Ten and Prem and the grandma, because let's face it, grandma is grandma for the win. It has to
Mhm.
be Metha for me. Like he was definitely my
Yeah.
favorite character. And I was gutted at the end when they're all gathered and they're all partnered up and it's all very sweet and it's like he has no one, so he flirts with grandma.
So sad.
And I'm just like, give this boy a boyfriend who can cook for him because clearly he wants to eat food. But yeah, I'm very sad. I'm very sad that it
Yeah.
didn't happen, and I
Mhm.
I was like, what? Do you know what would have been clever? What would have been a really cool
Mhm.
thing for them to do would have been in the cut version. They did what they did, and they put him with Pang,
Yeah.
and in the uncut version, they put him with Metha. Like, wouldn't that have been cool? Like, so you could have had both versions. Like, you could have had whatever you like. It's like a choose your own adventure ending. Like, choose your own ship. But, like, it would have been fun. Like, why didn't they do that? I don't understand. Like, what a missed opportunity. Like, you could have made everybody happy at once. Like, oh my goodness. Why didn't they do that? Now I'm really sad. I'm like, please
They
don't
gave
cry.
us an unrequited love story,
Yeah.
actually.
I'm just like, oh. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I liked the fact that the dish that they chose to prepare was tom kha gai. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, which is the grandma's recipe, and it's the first dish that they try to prepare in the first episode, like the one that they do not have time to finish, the one that he ends up giving to 10. It's like they were so underprepared and disorganized in the first episode, and finally, like, by being able to finish this dish, they became a good team. And even, like, look at the circumstances, they are proud of their journey, and this is
Mm.
why they chose to prepare this dish on the competition.
Yeah, and they did. I mean,
It's
they
very
did
personal.
do. It seemed to me, and once again, I mean, I don't know because I'm not that familiar with the Thai dish, but like it was definitely different from what they had cooked in the original episode, and that Ten had eaten. So I think it was like I guess a deconstructed like version of it, like a more kind of I guess they'd like poshed it up. Like it definitely looked different, but
Mhm,
it had the aspects
mhm.
of that recipe. At least I think anyway. Um, but yeah, and then we got the description as to like why they chose that, and I was just like,
It was so cute. Like Bram speaking into the camera. A very romantic thing to do, to make like a public confession.
yeah. But yeah, it was. He said something like he was talking about Ten, and he said that he had someone who was willing to do everything for me without hesitation. And I was just
Oh my
sitting
god,
here.
when they showed yeah.
I was just sitting here going, Ten and Mork, the green flags of GMM.
When they showed the scene with the hand holding, and you're like, am I a loser, or what did he say in episode 11? Am I lame? And
Lame.
then 10 is
Yeah,
like,
am I
your
lame?
hand, blah, blah. I instantly started crying. Instantly. What the like, how, why, what is this, what, how? I
Morella's
cannot
message to
express
me, I'm crying, and then it made me cry. The
Yeah,
description of the food.
this and then the one with I hate them so much, and like me sobbing, and you didn't get that I was actually crying because of the scene with fire and the mother, and I was serious.
Yeah,
It's like
well, it
I
was
was in
funny because
distress.
you yeah, it was really funny because I think I started before you and then I started taking notes, so you somehow crept ahead of me, and yeah, you was talking about something, and I'm like, I have no idea what triggered this reaction in you. And you were like firing his mom, and I was like, oh no. And then
No,
when I
because
started when I
I
started
sent you a crying message.
yeah,
A crying message. I'm like, oh my god. And
yeah,
you were like, oh yes, that's so cute. I'm like, no, I'm crying. What are you
because
talking about? I'm in pain.
my that's so cute was in reference to something else. So I was in a different part to you because when I started watching the fire dynamite mother scene, I started playing it, and then I like stopped it straight away because I was just like, oh no, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. And I was like, no, you can do this. And I pushed play, and I was like,
Did you?
oh.
Did it make you cry?
I didn't cry then. I
You
definitely
didn't
cried.
cry?
No, I cried in this episode. I didn't cry then. I don't know.
Oh god, I sobbed. It was ugly crying. I
Yeah.
was.
I think I was already crying because I think when they came out and they all had someone waiting for them and Dynamite
Mhm.
didn't, like I knew, like we knew because you knew in from the trailer that Fire's mother was going to show up at that place. That's where it was.
Yeah.
And so I knew that's where he was, but the combination of him not being there, Dynamite taking off the medal, and that story he told about having like no one because his family like basically cut him off, and that's what made me cry. By the time I got to Fire and Dynamite, I had sort of calmed down. I mean, by the time I got to Fire and his mother, I had sort of calmed down, and I was just like, I found it
I
like
thought that scene was
upsetting.
so good.
Yeah,
The scene was so good.
I found it upsetting, but at the same time, I was also like, as I said, I was way more triggered by the fact that it was like he had no one, and I was just like, oh my poor baby.
I was there. I was there in the conversation, like focused on the conversation between the fire, between Fire and his mom, and like the way she was talking to him, stripping him down of his agency, and just like the actress and Neo had such good chemistry here. They did such a good job, and she misunderstood him so much.
Yeah,
She decided everything for him, and he just went along with everything. And like they're both at fault. Like they both did not do well enough in their relationship.
yeah,
They both needed to fix their to do something about it.
yeah. I really did like this scene as well for not only the stuff that was happening between him and his mom, but also the implications it had for him and Dynamite. Because in the past, we had like last week the way he acted when the mother caught them or almost caught them. We've had him be scared or push Dynamite away as well. I felt like we needed some sort of something after that had happened where he kind of was like, I won't do that again, or like whatever. And I feel like in kind of in essence you got that from this scene, because the mother gives him opportunities to, like, I guess, throw Dynamite under the bus, or like to get out of the situation he's in. And although he's, obviously he's at this point where it's like you might as well tell the truth, because like, the cat is out of the bag. But like he still could have, like, I don't want to say wimped out, because I feel like this is one of those things that I feel like not everybody could really understand. Like, what I knew I would be okay, but you have this. It's very scary. It's a very, very scary thing. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something. Once this is out, you can't take it back. Like, it's not. Without lying to everybody and yourself, you can't. It's like you hate yourself if you take it back. Like, you can't take it back once it's out. Once the words have been spoken, once they know, you can't go the other way. So it's like, I don't want to say wimping out or whatever, because that's not what I mean. But like, for him to backtrack because this is too scary, this is too real, he's not ready. like it would have been completely understandable for that to have been something that had happened here, but he didn't. And he definitely was doing it for himself. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he did this for Dynamite specifically, but I love that he was brave enough to be like, no, this was like, this is who I am. I knew like what was happening. This wasn't something that was done to me. As you said, you mentioned the word agency. He takes that back, and I really, really liked the way they did that. And I liked the fact that, that could have been a truly horrible scene from Dynamite's perspective, because you're watching all of this. She's saying horrible things about you. Like, you don't know really how the person you love is going to react. And you couldn't really blame them. Like, you can't, like, it's such a weird, horrible, unique situation that and especially from his own personal experience, you couldn't blame him if he had reacted badly in a way that, like, maybe, felt like you were being pushed away, or like maybe you were being cast aside, or whatever.
Dynamite would forgive him even if he blamed
If he
it
had
on
done that, but like he didn't know. Like, he was there witnessing it unfold without knowing like what was going to happen. And I really did like the way they did it. I thought it was very good. Even though
it was a
really
very good
horrible.
scene. It was a very good scene.
And it kind of almost made up for the shit show that they did in episode 11, because it made me forget about it.
I'm willing to forget about it. I hated it in episode 11.
Yeah.
But this one, so good.
And
I like that you could clearly see that in her eyes, that she was hurt and that she cared about him, and that she needed time to readjust her worldview in a way, because in order to keep him in her life, and in order to make him happy, because ultimately that's what she wanted. She wanted the best for him. She needed to change the way she saw things.
Yeah, how she framed what his happiness should look like. Like, these were her ideas of what his happiness should look like. And I mean, even the way she spoke to him about like what he had done.
But even like she wanted the best for him, and then you're trying so hard, and like from her point of view, right? And then your child is telling you that everything that you do is actually making them unhappy.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said a couple of things. First off, she said something about, like, I can't remember how she worded it, but it was basically like that he had done this horrible thing in public, like by, hugging and kissing Dynamite. And it's not like they like French kissed with tongues on national television or whatever. He was like doing cute little like pecks all over his face. Like, it was cute and sweet. It wasn't like, they weren't creating acts of pornography on television or anything. Like, but the way she spoke about it would have been really upsetting for both of them as well. But then also,
I think that showed that she was homophobic. And she did have to.
Yeah, she had to realign herself. Yeah. And I feel like, and the other thing is, as you said, he basically said to her, like, in the past he could lie to himself and do what she wanted because it made her happy, and that made him happy. But then
this is such a heartbreaking line. So, like, oh God.
And then he met Dynamite, and he realized that he wasn't happy at all, which is basically what he says to Dynamite as well, about how Dynamite lit the fire inside of him again. Like, he gave him a reason to like want to live and be happy and everything. And the way he says that to her, like, like, I can't put your happiness first anymore. It's like, because it's not even just about making himself happy anymore, but because his happiness is intricately tied in with Dynamite's. If he's miserable, he's going to make Dynamite miserable, and he doesn't want to do that because he loves him. So to make the other person that he loves happy, he also has to be happy. And if he's happy, he's not going to make his mother happy. Like, it was a very, very well written scene, and it was very well It was very well acted, and Neo should be very proud of himself. And I know he's horrified because I saw some tweet or something where he was like, I think Off said something to him about this scene, and he was like, I can't look at the TV or something like that when he
Why?
saw this.
Why?
But he did such a good job. But I get it. I mean, it would be, it's,
Amazing. He was amazing in this scene. Like
yeah.
like oh, I think I think this was the best scene from this episode
Yeah, there is a lot of
for
actors
me.
and actresses though who can't watch themselves. I think like there are some who've never seen anything that they've ever done because they just can't stand to see themselves
Yeah.
like on the television. So I kind of understand that. And this was, if you think about Neo's like acting past and history, this was a big scene, a big emotional, very
I
serious
think this is
scene.
the first time I saw him deliver like lines of a character that is breaking apart like this.
Yeah, yeah, he did a very good job. So and the other thing as well, as I said, that I loved about this scene is that, you know, it's funny because they painted, we've seen the way that Dynamite has been painted and framed throughout this series as being like young and kind of a little bit obnoxious and boisterous and like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like he's Dynamite, you know what I mean? Like that's just what he is. And we've talked a
Mm-hmm.
lot about how he has this like really in-depth kind of maturity to him, this
Yeah.
quiet maturity. And it was once again so present in this scene, you know, like as I said, where the mother is like saying these horrible things about him. You know, if someone of his, someone who was immature in that sort of situation would have taken offense to that and maybe like tried to engage and just made the situation worse and like made it about them, and you know, like
Mm-hmm.
this was
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
moment that was about you, you know what I mean? Like this is not
Yeah.
your moment. And
Yes.
instead he just stood there quietly and waited until Fire needed him, and then he stepped
Yes.
up and became that person for him. You know, like this mature, like yeah, I just,
I
he
love
as I
that.
said, besides Metha and like the grandma, here's the other scene, he's the other character for me in this show that was like crept under the wire because he was just this crazy character, but like he just had this quiet maturity to him, which I absolutely loved. And I felt like it was really, once again, really well written, but also really well acted. So bravo to um
Ang Pao.
okay, you say it.
Ang Pao. Okay, so Ang Pao was absolutely great in this series. Shout out to him. He has a bright future. I hope he continues acting because
Yeah,
he
he did
did
a
such
really
a
good
good
job.
job. Yes, and
I'm eager
with
to
more
see him in something.
experience, I'm so curious to see what he does in the future. Like he has so much potential.
Yeah, I
He's very
agree.
talented. Yeah.
I can't wait to see
Like
what he does next.
yes.
Mm.
um where did we stop? What were we talking about? Oh,
So
about Dynamite's character.
we had a line that was when this was happening and stuff about every growth comes with tears and pain, which I thought was very interesting and also very
Mhm.
very true. Um
Also, healthy love can give you energy and encouragement, and you see you see Prem and Ten hugging each other and being happy, and you see Dynamite and Fire hugging and crying, but it's still the like the love. Dynamite's love gave Fire energy and encouragement to take this step.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So, like
funny.
I
There's
remember
this,
you sent me a message like, "Oh, why this is so cruel."
yeah, well,
It was cruel. It was cruel.
it was funny because we had this like full on kiss happening from Tan and Prem, and it was like
Uh-huh.
and then like it cut scene to like Fire bawling his eyes out, and I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
emotional whiplash, how dare they. But yeah, this
And then you
before,
have
hang on, before that happened though, there was this little bit because of course they came out, as we mentioned, and Dynamite had no one, so he went looking for Fire, and then we had all that scene. But then when they went back to the families and that, you had Prem talking to his grandma and his sister, and waiting patiently, you know, for his turn, sort of thing. And they
mhm.
decide to go and get drinks or whatever. And as they're leaving, Peng does this thing where she like made kissy faces at like at 10.
Yeah.
In other words, like go, like
Yeah.
give him a kiss sort of thing, and I just went, that's hilarious. And then we had cute little kisses between them. And
Yeah.
Prem saying I can be cuter, which just like set me off so
Yeah, you
much.
can. I believe you.
And then it was just as I said, I was very, very sweet and cute, and then like triggering because it went straight to fire, like crying.
And then we have the moment where Pram is returning the money to the dad, and the dad does not take the money out of his hands. He has to put them down, and he tells him that he will be perseverant, right? That he will prove to him that he is worth 10, or he will make himself worth 10, right? This is what he says, basically. Yeah, that he will prove himself, that he might not be good enough now, but he will make himself good enough. Right?
Yep, to be by his side.
Yeah. And so the nice thing is that the show brought attention to them and to the restaurant, and it brought the customers back to the location, and they're taking pictures with the contestants. And we have another Metha and Sensi moment.
I know my Metha Samsi heart was so crushed in this because, of course, they did the whole paying Samsi crush reveal thing here, and it was very cute. But I was just like, I'm glad they gave him a partner. I really do, but I just wish it was slightly more age appropriate. And but mainly, I just wish it was Metha. I'm like,
food for table two. Table two is left alone, and no one cares about table two.
Servicing table two. I'm like, I may have to write a fan fiction where Samsi services table two.
Ooh.
It sounds very inappropriate, but yeah. But the other thing is once again they focused on the sign again at the beginning of this scene as well. The sign above the restaurant that talks about warmth and everything. And then of course everyone's leaving or everyone has left, and that's when Ten's father turns up and
he got the money back.
Yeah, and I didn't hate this scene. I didn't hate the scene. I didn't hate the conversation that he had with Prem, and then I didn't hate the conversation that he had with his son later on.
Me neither.
I was still like, going, okay, but what about when you hit him? But but that's just me. But like it was interesting, and then of course we had him eating the food that they had made together, which was really cute. And then,
but I find it curious the fact that the way they talked with Ten, and how he mentioned Charlotte, and the fact that Charlotte did not want to go to that restaurant because it represents their family and their past together with the mom. And it's just and how he mentioned that the mom was the only woman he married, and it made me sad for Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't necessarily know that she necessarily wants anything more serious than that. She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't really come across that way. Like she seems content in her place. But this is what I was saying earlier when I was saying about like she doesn't have a malicious bone. Like she just cares about Ten because she cares about his father and his father cares about him. You know what I mean? Like she is. And I think respectful enough to realize that would be overstepping by going somewhere like that. That would probably make them uncomfortable or whatever. So I like you, I found it interesting, but I also I felt like that to me is probably maybe a healing point for potentially for Ten and her relationship, in that like in the future he might not be so hostile to her because maybe he might understand her.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, he might understand her a little bit now.
But she is respectful to his past, and respectful to the memory of the mama.
And that she's not trying to replace his mother, because that's not what she's trying to do. But I feel like that's what he was. It was like he had this thing like his father had replaced her, and that like she was trying to take that place.
Mhm.
Um,
And the
but
dad told him that he did everything that he could to save the mom, and that he's not the only one who is in pain and remembers her, and that he just did not know
wished he,
everything because he
yeah,
was a
wished he could
child
do
and they
more.
just hid things
Yeah,
from him. Yeah.
and this is the thing as well. I feel like Ten was an unreliable narrator in that story, because he was like,
Yeah.
what, 14 or 15 years old, and you know, it's this thing where he feels like his father should have known because he's a doctor, but we don't know. You don't know, like, and he probably doesn't know either, like, what the mother was doing leading up to that. Like, it's one of those things, when you're sick, you often don't tell the people you care about, especially if it's something scary or you think it might be something
Mhm.
big, because you don't want to worry them, or you don't want to make it real, or you don't want to, you know, you don't want those things to be something that happens, or you just can't say the words, you know what I mean? Like, so, and what I found as well in my experience is that often family members of doctors go to other doctors. They don't go to their partner or their whatever and get treatment from them. Like, instead they'll go secretly to someone else and get a
Mhm.
diagnosis and get a whatever, and then work out what to do and how to navigate that afterwards. But like, when you have, and we don't know that that's not what she did, we don't know, but you have like there's this whole other side of things, is if she did know she was sick, like, maybe she hid it from his father a little bit for as long as she could as well, because
Yeah, that's why maybe that, remember how when the woman who looked just like Tan's mother was telling the story, and I thought maybe like her story is meant to resemble the father's story, the
mm-mm,
father's journey,
mm-mm,
how he tried to do that and he tried to save her, but he couldn't, and then he just had to move on
yeah,
and try to save other people.
yeah. And I think that is probably what happened. And but as you know, like, it was sort of implied, because he was essentially a child, a teenager, but still a child, he's not going to see everything that went on. And so
Mhm.
he didn't have the full story, you know what I mean? So I'm glad they had that conversation. I was a little bit worried that we might not actually get that conversation. It seems strange to
Mhm.
say that, but like, it seemed like they were putting more importance on other aspects of their relationship and things. And so I was a
Mhm.
little bit concerned that we wouldn't actually get that conversation. And it was over, like, it was, they did it like really quickly, but I don't think that
Mhm.
that's a problem. Like, I feel like it, once again, this show did a really good job of not, like,
I just had an idea.
beating the drama until it was dead. You what, had
I
an
just had an
idea?
idea. Yes,
What's
I
your
just
idea?
had an idea. So in this series, feeding someone is a sign of sharing love, right? For
Mm-hmm.
example, like for Pram, and even
Mm-hmm.
for Tan as well. Preparing food for the person that you love. It's like sharing love with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the fact that the dad is fed, like a bit of love is also shared with him, and it brings him back as well to the memory of the mother and everything, and that's okay. But I just had this thought: wouldn't it have been even cooler if in this scene they shared a meal with Tan, if they ate together, if they like if he was there as well eating with him? Because remember in episode 1
Mm.
we had Tan refusing to eat with the father,
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah.
and then it would have been cool if in the end what they did is like finally reconcile and be able to share this experience or whatever.
Mm. I feel like in this moment it might have been too soon, but definitely at the very end of the episode, when Ten has his sorry, when Prem has his like little tasting thing happening for his friends and family, it would have
Yeah.
been nice to see Ten's dad and maybe Charlotte there.
Hmm.
Like, that would have been a nice little
Maybe
touch.
But maybe their relationship was never fixed. Maybe they
Maybe,
always remained estranged.
there was a bit of a bridge because of Prem, and that was all it would ever be. But who knows? But
Mhm.
yeah, I did like it because in
Yeah, no,
this
I
scene,
agree. I agree. I agree with you. It would have been too soon, but it would have been cool if we had a scene like this. If they mended their relationship, it would have been cool to have this thing brought back again. And
yeah,
like that time, he refused to eat with him, but this time they will eat together.
yeah. I mean, I feel like they were kind of implying that that would happen in the future, which is why I feel like if they had been at the other dinner, it would have made more sense and it would have been good.
Hmm.
Because there's the bit where like when Prem and Ten are watching his father eat the food that they made together, and Prem puts his hand over Ten's, and they have this
Yeah.
look like they did when they were at Ten's house at the beginning of the episode, where they're having this like really silent but very loud conversation between the two of them. Like they just get each other.
Hmm.
And like Prem Prem, Ten closes his eyes and he remembers like sitting there having a meal with his parents and eating in the restaurant. And like while this is happening, you have the voiceover of Prem talking about Ten and his dad, and like how they're feeling the warmth and and everything from the food. And it's really interesting because what he's saying in this scene echoes the sign that they kept showing the whole time. It's like
Hmm.
while they were there, when they were there with the mother, they felt this like warmth of family and love
Yeah.
because they were together, because they were a whole family. But also in this moment, even without her there, they feel the warmth of her as if she was there with them. Like, so
I feel like
it would have been nice to have had, as you said, to have had him sit at the table with him when that was happening. But like, I also get why they didn't do it.
maybe that sign is meant to represent that this is what a home filled with love feels like. This is what they create for each other when they fall in love and they have a healthy relationship. This is what you build around yourself. This is what your home is, with the person that you love and that you support, and that you have a healthy relationship with, basically a good
Mm-mm.
relationship with.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then we have the scene on the bridge, with which was very cute, and I love the way they looked at each other after they kissed.
I love how
That that
I love
was
how Tan's like, now tell me you love me. And Prem's like, nope, I'm gonna kiss you instead.
And then we had the scene with Dynamite and Fire and the mother apologizing for suffocating him, and the suggestion that Dynamite keeps bringing Mother food and she likes it, and she probably likes it too much.
Oh,
So-
before this we had the graduation.
oh, oh yeah,
Yeah. Where it was interesting actually because when we had that scene, I was thinking, oh no, don't tell me he hasn't spoken to the mother in like all this time, sort of thing. Because it was seemed
hmm,
weird, like families often at these things. And, he was clearly with friends, and then Dynamite showed up and he was happy to see him. And then, but then the mother and father showed up, and I was like, oh good, they're okay. And
hmm.
we got this moment where, once again Dynamite stepped back and let them have their thing, and we started to see this, like, her in her own brash kind of seemingly uncaring way say to him, if you're going to be in the photo you need to move into the frame. Like, she she wasn't like opening him, she wasn't welcoming him with open arms or anything, but it was like baby steps. Like, here's an olive branch, don't let it hit you in the face.
Did she tell? Does she tell him at some point, "Don't call me mother"? At some point in
She
the
does
series?
that when she did that when it was being revealed, because when he at the competition, when it all went to shit,
Yeah.
because when
Mm,
he came out
mm,
he was like, oh, like, oh mum, you came to support us, or like
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
like in a kind of respectful way. I think you referred to her
Yeah.
in that way.
Uh-huh.
And that's where she says, don't call me mother. Yeah. So, and then we had
So when
the scene that you were talking about where um they're like honoring her, I guess is probably the
yeah,
right word. We have the whole bit where she's like, next time you bring me food, like make sure it's not full of like coconut or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and it's like, so there's this implication that she expects him to do this for her in the future.
And also the fact that she likes it and she eats it a lot, and the doctor told her not to. And the fact that she cannot just not eat it if he brings it. If he brings that thing, she will eat it. So he has to stop bringing it.
Yeah. He has to bring something else instead. Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
the implication is that he's feeding them a lot and she's eating it and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very cute. And then I love how Fire's like, get down here on your knees and like, you know,
But
play,
your
yeah,
respect.
play your
Yeah.
respects. It's really cute because it's like it's a very couple moment, which shows how comfortable they are with one another and everything. So yeah, I thought that was a really cute way to end their little arc. So
Yeah.
and
I'm pretty sure like that the thing that we were predicting will happen in the future for them. She will love Dynamite so much. He will become her favorite.
I feel like it's one of those things where he probably already is, but she's like still angry a little bit that she,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and like so she's not quite right.
And
She's
also
not.
prideful. She's
Yeah,
prideful and
she's prideful. That's right. I feel like if they had like a big fight or something, you know, the two of them, you know, the first big fight or like whatever, and like Fire went there and he was like, you know, oh, really angry or like whatever, and or upset or whatever, and she's just like, what did you do to my dynamite? Like, you should go and
Mhm.
apologize. And he's like, but I didn't do anything. It doesn't matter. You should go and apologize.
Yeah.
You know, like,
What if
or
the
or
road, like the road to her heart is through food, and Dynamite is just like working on it.
yeah, he's just like he's paving that road, and it's like,
Yep.
or they have a really big fight or something, and instead of Fire going there, like Fire goes to his friends, you know, because that seems like a guy thing.
Uh,
And Dynamite goes there, and he's like, "Mom, he was so mean to me." She's all like, "Tell me all about it," and then he gets yelled at. Because, you know, she had that down, didn't she? Really like yelling him into submission. And you know, as we've discussed a few times, he actually really liked that when he got that from Dynamite. So he'd be like, wait, but I didn't do anything. Yes, I can definitely picture that very, very easily.
and then we jump forward in time, and Ten of them are engaged.
I know, right? Seriously, those photos are just about like
Wait,
that.
wait a second. Are they engaged? Like they're engaged? Oh, they're not engaged. They're married. Are they married? Are they engaged? What is
Well,
going on? Well,
they
we
look
don't
like
know. It's in
wedding
the future. They might be.
yeah, they look like wedding rings. But then
Hmm.
and so I assumed married, but
Yeah,
then when
they're married.
yeah, when Ten was
Period.
cooking, he said he made this like boyfriend super chef something special or whatever. So that implies that they're not married, but I think that's just him. I think that's like him just being
A
uh
throwback. Just a throwback. It's
just
a
a
throwback. Let's
throwback.
be
Yeah.
hopeful. Let's
Yeah.
be hopeful. They're married.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
They're
it
married.
just looked like it. It was so funny though because I saw so many posts after the episode about like close-ups of the hands, and I'm just like, oh, it's so cute. Like, why is it so cute? And why are OffGun getting married in like every universe?
Well, of course they are. Zoe, what kind of question is this?
I saw another post as well. It said something like it had all of their different characters. It's like married, like High Third, we know got married. It's like married, probably married. Sean and White, too busy doing social activism to get married. And I was just like,
Oh
and I mean, you
please,
know,
these two, like the day that
it became
the
legal.
same sex, yeah, the day that it becomes legal, they'll be the first in line to get married.
Yeah,
Just,
well,
you know,
Sean will have dragged White there, whether he wanted to or not.
I don't
I,
think he'd have to drag White there. Like they're just like hand
picture.
in hand, like running,
Pic,
jumping from building to building together.
I'm like, no,
I don't
I'm more envisioning. I'm more picturing. You know the scene where they're in the
know.
warehouse and they're like sneaking around and stuff, and like they really should be leaving because they could get caught at any minute, and instead, Sean is like, you have to tell everybody the truth, or else kind
Mhm.
of thing. And
Uh-huh.
like kind of like not bullies but kind of bullies White into like, you know, fassing up with everyone else. And I'm like, I see this kind of interaction. Like, we're gonna get married. No, it's not necessary. We're gonna get married.
No,
um
no. They're going to get married, please. They're going to
you're
get
like
married. They're
skipping
going to
across
get
the
married.
buildings, like tra la 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 la.
Yes.
Yes, I
The
agree.
only
They would wait
one.
until it was legal for everybody, but then they would definitely go and do it.
So then 10 has an important appointment, and it's I guess it's a new restaurant. So
It
Prem's
was
wish
it was
it
really
has
cute.
been.
Yeah, it was really cute to see him in his little like intern doctor outfit.
Yes. And everyone arrives at the restaurant. Metha is flirting with the grandma. Grandma
Seriously.
grandma is accusing 10 for being too happy. And they're cooking together, and I guess is it even a restaurant, or are they just did they just move in together and this is like a meal to celebrate the fact that they are, you know.
I feel like it's an actual restaurant.
You think so? Because the
Yeah.
fact that Tan goes there to prepare the food with Bram, it felt like a ceremony. Like here, like we are together, we are welcoming our family, our friends. Here's the first
I
meal at our new
I
house or
kind of
new.
just I kind of just took it the other way. So like when earlier in the episode Prem was talking about how, you know, he really wants to open up his, you know, like tasting plate restaurant, and he says something like, but it'll be
I
really
think they
hard.
do mention that it's actually a restaurant. Yes,
Yeah.
they. I think they
And
do mention.
he says it would be too hard to do it on my own or something like that. And Ten says to him, "But you have me to help you." So I feel like it was more just like he was acting like sous chef slash waitress
Hmm.
or wait staff for so Prem could just cook like and do like what he does. Um and then I like how
They are very cute together, though.
for Prem after everyone else had left. Before we do that though, I just like with Mather and his flirting with the grandmother, he goes, I love that. He says something like, I love that blouse. Is it made from a monk's robe? Because it was like that bright orange color. I'm just like, oh, Mather. So sad. So sad sitting at the table all by yourself. Okay, anyway. Yeah, and then we had the cute scene of Ten cooking for Prem, because Prem had spent all day cooking for everyone else. So I like that. I think that's really, really cute that, you know, even though Ten has also spent all day working, like he gets this joy out of making food for the person he loves. Because this is the thing that he wanted to do. Like, it's the whole reason why he wanted to
In the
learn
first place,
how
yeah.
to cook in the first place was because he really would wanted to be able to make this food that his mother would have enjoyed. And so this
Mhm.
whole idea, like this full circle idea that, you know, he comes home after a long day of, you know, saving people or whatever, um to take care of the person who spends all day taking care of everyone else as well. I just really liked that. I like that he gets had so much joy in, you know, feeding Prem in return. It was
Yeah.
very, very sweet. So, and it just
And then
means that that aspect of their relationship obviously has continued as well.
and then it's just the two of them, and I don't know how to speak like in human language, like to express what I feel about this scene.
Just everything. It's just so
Literally,
funny. Like
now
the
it's time for something sweet. I just like died.
yeah.
I wanted to throw myself against the wall. I was like, oh my god.
What is it? What did he say? What
One
was?
of them said, now it's time for something sweet.
Yeah. And then, but does what does Prem say? Like something like you had it
Oh,
last night.
yeah, you just had it last night.
Yeah.
Good for them.
And Tan's just like, yeah, well, you know me, I can never say no to sweet things.
I just thought it was so funny how he bites 10 bites Bram's ear and Bram doesn't react. It's
Yeah.
so weird because every time he'd even breathe near his ear, like Pram would jump,
And
and
we
he
also
would just
we
look
also
into
know that
everything.
inherently as well that is that is Gun's relationship to Off doing anything like that is he's just like ah. So
No, but it just
kudos.
kind of means that Ten does it so often that Bram had no choice but to get used to this.
I know,
Like
right?
Ten is an ear enjoyer.
An ear enjoyer, a
That's his
delicacy, as you will.
favorite. That's his like late night snack.
Yeah, well, I'm just like once again, I was so triggered by that scene. I was like dragged straight back to the tent in Not Me. Yeah. And then it was just after that it was just all downhill from there, or uphill depending on how you how you look at it. I was just like, oh, be still my heart. It's so funny because we talk about them playing Scrabble, you know,
Scrabble, yeah.
we talked about the Scrabble a bunch of times while doing the podcast for this, and we don't actually see them play Scrabble, which is fine because I feel like in this instance we don't need to see them play Scrabble. Like they kissed so much. Oh my god, they kissed so much in this episode, and it wasn't like, you know, dead fish kisses. It was like, hello, somebody get these people a bedroom stat.
But
Kind
no,
of
but
kisses.
even the kisses that were done were kind of filmed in a comedic way, because if you compare them to what they did in Not Me, the vibe is completely different. Like even the scenes from the episode where they were so horny for each other and like kissing in libraries and in the cars and everything, it was done in a comedic manner. It was
Well,
not it was not
I think
serious, and I think it wouldn't have fit the story if um
we
it
saw
was
them
very
play Scrabble.
different here. But at the same time, it's the ending of the story, so they had to get a bit more serious. But if they
Yeah,
went straight into Scrabble, it would have been
weird.
weird. It would
Yeah,
have, yeah.
I think as
um
well. I mean, the other reason. I don't know that I was to say it's always comedic when they kiss in this show. I mean, a lot of the time, yes, like huge amounts of the time.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
but there were some just really sweet ones too. I think
yeah,
the
okay.
main difference between this and say Not Me kisses is that the characters in Not Me are way more intense and there's way more on
Oh
the
yeah.
line. You know, this is a
Hmm.
kind of like a desperation
Desperate,
to
yeah,
their,
I agree.
yeah.
Hmm.
Whereas there's not that, like this is very relaxed and sweet and, you know, new and exciting and like, but in a different
in
way.
that me in that me it's like you only live once. In Cooking Crush, it's like, oh, we have a life to live, let's
Yeah,
prolong the
exactly.
pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just like, okay,
Hmm.
like I feel like in Cooking Crush as well, they had like a bucket list of like where like what are all the places that we should make out that aren't actually our actual home? Because honestly,
Hmm.
oh my goodness, like even the last scene is in Prem's restaurant. Like, boys, get a room already. Like we never saw them like make out on a couch or something. Like we just never saw them do it in a normal place. It was always like either really in public or just somewhere like where they probably shouldn't or they were going to get caught at any second. Like
Yeah.
it's like I hope they locked the door before they started getting down in the restaurant. Like you'd hate to rock up and be like, "Hi, are you guys still open?" "Oh, no. Okay. Is it dinner and a show?"
What
But
kind of restaurant is this?
I know, right? No, I really
Yeah.
liked it. I think they ended it in a really cute way. They gave us it was interesting because as we were talking about earlier, they spent a lot of time this season telling us things versus showing us things, and in this end bit they showed us a lot. So we saw the photos, you know, like that told
Hmm.
the story. Like there were pictures from them together at university, and then the graduation, and then, you know, the restaurant, and then, you know, Ten and Prem's engagement slash wedding and all of that sort of stuff. And then we saw the fact that they're all um still hanging out, that they're all close, that they, you know, they're and that Ten and Prem are still sweet on each other, and just they you know, once again can't like restrain themselves. It's funny because we, you know, like we talked about their behavior when they get close in the beginning about how like they just really liked each other, and like they didn't have the opportunity to really explore that and whatever, and now we get this implication that they're just like exploring it all over the place all the time, and it still
Mm-hmm.
hasn't altered the way they feel about each other, which is kind of cool. Like, it's, yeah, it was,
Yeah,
they ended it very well, I think. There wasn't a
I
lot
agree.
there wasn't a lot that where I could have gone, oh, I wish they did this, or I wish they did this, or like,
It
you
felt
know,
it felt satisfying. Yes,
it
it
did.
felt
Like,
it's a satisfying
yeah, like
episode
literally for
ending of the
me,
series.
yeah, literally for me, the only, as I said, the only real thing that really kind of bothered me was the violence from the father, but like, we missed the boat with that one. And then I didn't like the way that, suddenly Chef Chiang Mai is like supposed to be this good character. I was like, at this point, I really didn't care about him at all. Like, it being on the screen, I kind of really, I mean, I didn't even put any notes about him because I found found it unmemorable, and I did not uninteresting in like trying to remember him, because at that point I didn't agree with what they'd done with his character or whatever anyway. So like, it didn't sit right with me. So I kind of just ignored him from sort of the beginning of the episode to the end of the episode when he showed up. But like, the main thing for me was the violence thing, but the only other thing that I was like, oh, this didn't work the way I wanted it to, was Mather and Zamsi. And those are like not huge things. One is just like me being a crazy fangirl, and the other one with outrageous demands. And the other one is, yeah, maybe something they should have addressed, but like, on the grand scheme of things, if that is the only issue that I have, it's not a huge one.
Overall, it's a very cute series, and it can easily become your comfort show. It's something
I
that you
think so.
can watch when you feel down, when you wanna relax, when you wanna have a good time. It's a good show to make you feel lighter
Mm.
and make you smile,
Yeah,
have fun.
it was a lot of fun, and it was really sweet, and they look, as you said, it's a great comfort show, I think, because especially if you need some comfort, I guess, is probably the easiest way to put it. But like, some shows are like too funny, or some shows are like, it's too sweet, or it's too whatever. You're like, this has a really good like
Too
mix of
funny.
both. No, but like, if you feel like shit, and then like you try and watch something funny, like, I feel like that's not always a great thing, because you're just not there yet, I
Uh-huh.
feel like this is
Yeah.
a good mix for that, like, because it eases you into it. You're like, oh, this is really sweet, and then all of a sudden you're like dying with laughter because this thing happened that you were not expecting. Or
Hmm.
if this is like the 10th time you've watched it, well, you know what's coming, but like, you either know what's happening, and you're waiting for it, or as I said, or it's a surprise because you haven't seen it before, and it makes you laugh. But I overall, I think they did a really good job. Was there some issues with it here and there? Yeah, but like most dramas, there usually is, and they're usually way bigger issues. So I feel like the acting was really, really good. Like, the characterization in this show was excellent. Like, they did a really good job of fleshing out the main characters really, really well. Um,
I agree.
as I said, we knew who the main characters were. Like, we understood Fire and Dynamite. We understood Tan and Pram.
Their motivation, yes,
Yeah, we
they
really
are.
did. We really did kind of understand them, and
I feel like we did.
yeah, I think we did. And I feel like also, like, I mean, I can only speak for me, but like, I got really attached to them very quickly too. Like, and not just to them, but to Fire and Dynamite, and also Samson and Matha, and not just as like this, like, not just as this pairing that because I got attached to that really quick, but like, just in general, like, you were rooting for these other characters, even though like, normally I normally, when there are other characters on the screen, when I'm watching, like, I'm watching a show for the main couple, I'm watching a show for like that ship pairing, or like whatever, like, I don't need to see the other couples. I don't need to see the, like, when you start to when there's too many side characters, they've got too many friends, I'm like, oh god, no, they're going to give us like
Mhm.
10 pairings, and You know,
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
gonna have to have their like 10 minutes of an episode, and I'm like, I don't care about any of that. I'm like, go away and bring me my, you know, like whatever.
main
But
couple, yeah.
yeah, but in this, I didn't feel that way. Like, there wasn't really kind of any scene that I can remember where I was like, oh, well, you know, I'm not interested in this. I wish there was more 10 prem. The only thing I can really say that happened to me and was with the bullies, but
Oh yeah,
that was really only in episode 11 that happened to me, where I felt was like, no, this is too much.
yeah.
But other than that, like, I was just like, I was happy to see Fire and Dynamite. I was like totally engaged, and then I was, you know, like, even before they kind of seemed to introduce this idea that Metha maybe was very aware of Samsi, I was starting to like them because I loved the dynamic between Metha and Fire, and between Metha and Ten, like the friendship between them. I just really liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also obviously also the relationship between Metha and Sam C. As even before they kind of introduced the thing, there was this cute kind of like romance developing, and it was fun to see them. Like, you wanted to know like where what was going to happen with Sam C, and you know, all the rest of it. So I'm not, as I said, I'm not angry that they gave him a partner. I'm really happy they gave him a partner. But I'm just like, why couldn't that partner have been Metha?
For
I'm
me,
never gonna
actually,
get
for
like
me,
I'm never gonna let it go. Like, on my tombstone, they'll be like, why didn't they do it? Yeah.
actually, even the scene with Bang, even though I was so excited and into the idea of Meth SMC, like the fact that, but somehow they managed to make me have fun with the
Oh,
scenes of Bang being all in love with Sam C and having a crush and like giggling and everything. It was really fun and cute. Like
it
I
was. I
would
agree.
think I'd have more negative, a more negative reaction to this, but I was actually smiling and I thought, oh, okay,
I
okay,
mean,
all right.
as I said, I know I keep banging on about Metha and Samsey, but I was fine with the Pang Samsey too. I was like, I also thought it was cute and everything. I thought I would have major issues with it, but the way they framed it, I really didn't. And
Mhm.
I
Yeah, the
also
framing.
found it,
Yeah, I agree. The framing was really, really good. The
yeah,
framing of the story. So good.
I found it really, really cute as well. But I just, as I said, I feel like they missed a huge opportunity by not doing the idea that I had, the choose your own adventure. Come on, that would have been brilliant. Put in the cut version, put him together with Pang, and then in the uncut version, make it Metha Samsi. That would have been amazing. Like, everything else is the same. It's just those are the only two things that change, like a little flick in the universe. That would have been awesome. I was like, I've this such a weird thing. It's such a
It's a
good
nice
idea.
fantasy.
Yeah, it is a nice fantasy.
Do you remember what you said in the last episode? If Meth SMC doesn't happen, you will write your own fact one.
Fan fiction.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe I
Mm-hmm.
should take a notebook on my road trip and see.
I will be waiting. I'm so excited.
Yeah, you're still waiting for your not me fan fiction, so this could take a while.
Yeah, but I think I have other people who I can complain to and like put pressure on you because you mentioned it on the podcast and it has already been posted.
I did. I don't know that anyone would actually want to read it though, besides you, but that's all right. I could just write it
Oh,
for
oh,
myself.
oh, she's very good. People, if you hear it, just come on Tumblr and Twitter and help me pressure her into writing this, please.
peer pressure. But yeah, like, it's a shame. I feel like they could have, because they laid it out there for us. Like, they really did. It was very clever. They did that whole like bait and switch thing where they're like, look what's happening over here. Just joking, here, have this instead.
So cruel. It was so cruel. I hate them
But
for
yeah,
that. It was so cruel.
I will go to my grave on that Method definitely had feelings for Samsi, because everything
Yes,
indicates to it.
it's a very
So
sad story.
yeah.
It's tragic. I'm heartbroken.
I know, and it's just like, like, we had this scene at the end where they have this meal, and then it's like, now I'm picturing this scene like 20 years down the track, and they're all married and got
Yeah.
children, and
He's
Method
laughing.
turns up,
He's
and
laughing and he's joking, but he's actually crying inside all the time.
he's like
He's
the
hiding
fun
so much
uncle.
pain.
Yeah, he's the fun uncle that never got married because, like,
Yeah.
he was in love with his friend. The one that got away. No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I guess
On that note, before Zoe gets even more crazy, this is probably a good place to end it. But no, honestly, it would have been so fun. I feel like it's such a missed opportunity. They could have done the cool thing
yes,
with the like
which is
like
which is exactly why you should do it.
uh,
You should.
I feel like no one who's making shows would be listening to this podcast, but if you are, you should totally do something like that because that would be a lot of fun. Like, what a cool way to change it up a little bit.
Oh,
You
you
know,
mean different storylines depending on where you watch it? Like if you watch the cut version or the uncut version? Oh, I don't think I don't think I'd enjoy that. I'd probably find it kind of frustrating.
Well, no, I don't mean like majorly different. Like this is not a major thing. Like because let's face it, if we're looking from the storyline perspective, you've got the main characters, which are Tan and Pram, and then our next sort of like sub
Didn't
Harry.
didn't they basically do this? Like I think if you watch the cut version, you have Method teasing Sansi and then being bickering and being like these kinds of friends. But if you watch the uncut version, you have Metha being secretly in love with Samsi and never getting a chance to tell him that, and Samsi falling in love with Bram's sister and Metha remaining alone at table two and just brokenhearted, and no one pays attention to him. And
I love how you put that at table too. But yeah, well, I mean, yeah, essentially they did, but like to actually put them together would have been cute because it would have changed. It wouldn't have changed the ending. Like you still have the same ending. The main core of the story is the same. It's just this one little thing that like you could have had like a moment in time where like you have this and it actually could have been the moment with the sign because
they
you
should
know like
pair up. They should pair up. They should do a project with Netflix where you have this interactive series or movies, and you like interactive BL. Choose your pairing.
yeah, choose your own ending, yeah. Because they could have
Yeah.
done like as I said, they could have had this moment in it where it deviated slightly. And so in the show when when Prem is doing his voiceover explanation as to what happened and Samsi is chasing Pang like in that little alleyway thing. That happens I think because she was holding up the sign or something and he like was like thought she was mocking him so he confronted her in actual fact and that's how it all came about. Now if the sign had been handed to the Mr. Method Man who was making grabby hands for it, you could have had like these two, like almost a mirror image of these two moments where Samsi confronts Pang in YouTube and Metha in Weverse being like, would you stop making fun of me or something, whatever, and then it deviates that way. Like that would have been a really cute way to do it. But
Yeah, I
it's
think it was pretty much clear they wouldn't do this when in the
no.
last episode Samsi was alone in that
Yeah,
scene where
yeah,
they were
yeah,
training.
yeah.
It
And
was
I'm still
clear that that was
yeah,
it.
and I'm still bummed about that as well because that would have been hilariously funny. That would have been such a funny scene because Samsi
Funny
would not
and
have been
also
receptive. Would
cute
have not have been
and
receptive to like Method mopping his brow or something. He would have been like, "What are you doing?" But yeah,
well, I think that this is it.
she's like, "Build a bridge and get over it, Zoe." I'm like, "No, I
follow
never
us,
will."
follow us on follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, send us an ask, interact with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us, and bye.
Bye.